The main event is going to be Zahid Valencia versus Kyle Dake, two extremely familiar opponents for you, Jordan. What are your thoughts on that matchup? What you saw at the U.S. Open from Zahid, what you saw from World Team Trials from Kyle Dake, and just what excites you about that matchup?
Both these guys are very, very good wrestlers. They have unique styles that are really, really conflicting for me in terms of how they can, lay out the like if I'm looking at this from a coaching perspective, if I'm both of these guys, right? I'm looking at the way the game unfolded out at the US Open in Vegas. Zahid is a guy that's been notoriously known for a bad gas tank, right? Whether it's bad or whether he just is so high energy and maximizes output early, and then just kind of sustains his pace. I don't think we've seen him get big leads and then concede more so as we've seen him in a position to win and output significantly decreases late. I thought he did a really good job in managing his lead against Kyle Dake. Surprised that he was able to score a gut wrench on top. Kyle is, I would, in my estimation, say is a guy who is more well known for his mat wrestling, particularly parterre. So when he went up 4-0, I was a little bit surprised. I think, watching the match, Kyle is dangerous, but dangerous in a different aspect, right? He has to control center. He's not really a shooter, so he's not going to get to Zahid's legs often. He had a really hard time, even late as Zahid started to fade. You could see Kyle up a weight, carrying a lot heavier of body, having to move himself around a lot more. He was fatigued as well. And the points that he scored were from push-outs, trying to dominate positions, dominate the ties, move forward, and control the center of the map. Kyle's going to have to find a way to get to his legs. Zahid's going to have to find a way to score early. But I think that the strategy for Kyle is going to be control center, push pace, try to get Zahid uncomfortable, keep the gap and the margin very small, knowing that Zahid could potentially fade late, and then it's a 1 or 2 score match. But Zahid's a guy that's it's hard to even when he's tired, he's still extremely hard to score on because he's so long. I mean, it's a really tough matchup. Intriguing for sure. It's hard one to pick. I think that even after watching the U.S. Open, we were looking at that match like, can Zahid do this again? Right? He really scored all of his points in the match in a single sequence, and then kind of manage his lead for the remainder of the match. So it's difficult to call.
Right. And when you think about, all right, that was a one match. This is a 2 out of 3. Talk about how that shifts that dynamic. You're talking about Zahid's ability to endure. Just the psychology of a 2 out of 3. You've been in so many of those throughout your career. How
Yeah,
does that
I
change
was.
things?
You know what? I was thinking about this today, Christian, because I feel like I'm just ragging on Zahid, right? He's phenomenal. His Zahid is amazing. When I wrestled him, and I think this late 2020 we
Yeah.
wrestled in that match down in Texas.
Yeah.
When he took me down the first 2 times, I went down 4-0. I was like, what did I do? Right? I'm like, I wrote a check that I can't cash. This dude's freaking good. Fast, strong, long, confident. He's got just swagger and the ability to score from both sides of the body. He can hit you with an ankle pick, double leg, duck under. He's got such a versatile offense. And so I don't like being overly critical of him. But what I will say is that in the 2 matches where he had formidable opponents in the best of 3 series, David Taylor in 2023 and then David Taylor again in 2024. In 2023, remember they had at Hulu Theater, they had a razor thin match the first match. And then he got beat late, wore himself out, got extremely tired. Second match, he got tech fall. 2024 in Omaha, 3-3 criteria
Mm-hmm.
loss to David Taylor in the first match, extremely close, razor thin loss, and then he got pinned in the second match while he was down 8-0. Right. And so I think that the strategy for Zahid is he's going to have to expect 3 matches, and then be able to sustain his energy for all 3. He's a guy that just he red lines all the time. Right. He's not a guy that conserves energy. It's just stylistically, he wrestles a very hard, gritty, uh, a demanding, um, a demanding style. And so my expectation is he needs the first match. He absolutely needs the first match. If he gets the first match, I'm pretty confident he can get it done. If he loses the first match, the way that history has shown his second match after a really close first, sometimes he doesn't do a great job at getting himself back mentally and physically
Yeah.
in a good place.